Hey everyone, I'm Laura and welcome to Book Bubbler. Today I'm filming my 1-year anniversary Q&A. Thank you all for submitting some questions. I haven't looked at anything yet. I'm going to go on my computer right now and pull up the video. I haven't peeked at anything, honestly. So let's see, I am going to scan first and see if there are any massage questions. If there are more than like one or two, or if there's something in there that I think needs more explaining, I will save those for a separate video. Okay, I don't want to hear myself talk there. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, there's one massage question. Another massage question. Okay, I'm going to answer one because it's a quicker answer. I'll answer one now and then I'll do the other one in a separate video because I have a couple of questions that I've been asked over the last year from other people too. So I will do one kind of longer, chattier massage video, but I will answer, of course, one question now. So also, this is Roger behind me. I have had Roger for almost 20 years now. It took me forever to find him. He is not a soup tureen. I wanted just a decoration, and I stalked him at an antique store for about a month. So Roger is out now. If you see a turkey back there, it's not just me. There are two turkeys here. Okay, so starting from the bottom and working my way up, from Jeanette. How did you begin to accumulate so many books, bookshelves, and how in the world do you remember what you have read since you read so prolifically? There's a couple more questions. Okay, so how do I accumulate so many books? The short answer is I have been a voracious reader since I was 5 years old. And I've always spent my money on books, CDs, and DVDs. That's pretty much all I ever spent money on. Like clothes if I had to, other stuff for other hobbies, but it's always been books. So this, like the reason I have so many is because I don't get rid of something, generally speaking, unless I have read it. And this is what I've spent my money on for the last, let's say, 35 years. But bookshelves. Okay, so many bookshelves. I have an odd-shaped front of my house. So I live in my grandparents' house, my mom's parents' house. This is where my mom grew up. And the room I'm in now, which is the dining room and the living room, there's not a lot of wall space. The biggest wall I have is this wall back here, which I try not to put bookcases there because I have this giant dining room table. But so there are you've seen them before in other videos too. They're all wall mounted shelves, excuse me, here that my grandfather put up for him and my grandmother. They were both readers. They're downstairs in the basement right now in like protective boxes, but I have I have a lot of books from my grandparents, but there are a couple of them from my grandfather to my grandmother that say something like, on the occasion of ironing my pants, so books have been a thing for a long time. So the ones that are on the wall have been there since probably the 40s. And then everything else, my dad has made one of them, and everything else is just like cheaper stuff. I put bookshelves wherever I can put bookshelves feasibly. If there is a blank wall, chances are there is a bookshelf on it or against it or touching it somehow. So that's my decoration of choice is bookshelves. How do you remember what you have read since you read so prolifically? A lot of the time I just remember. It's not a great answer, I know. Sorry, Jeanette. I also separate my read and unreads. So I have one shelf in my bedroom that's just read books that are some of my favorite books, and everything else that I have read is in a storage bin in the basement. There are some books at my parents' house of my own, but we'll leave that there. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Are you from a large family? No, not at all. I am an only child. My parents had me when they were in their late 30s, which for the late 70s was, a bigger deal than it would be now. I think I am still the youngest in my family. Oh no, that's not true. My second cousin has a daughter who was, I think, 10 or 11. So she is the youngest in the family, but most of my relatives didn't marry, didn't have kids, or if they had kids, it was usually one or two. So it's always been my mom and dad and my grandmother and I, my grandmother who lived in this house. My grandfather, my mom's father, passed away before I was born here in the house. My grandmother died here in the house. And my dad's side of the family, he was the youngest by quite a long shot and was, did not have a good relationship with his parents. They lived kitty corner from where I am now. His parents built the house in the 50s and they moved in when my dad was about 9 years old. So my parents had known each other since they were 9 or 10. And we saw them sometimes, but not that often. And it was always at the prompting of my mother. This is a family history you don't need to know right now, sorry. But my dad was the youngest by a long shot. He had 3 older siblings, and 2 of them, one does not live near me at all. One lived very close. We were close to my Uncle Marvin and my Aunt Sharon. They have one son who is in his 50s now. But that's really my family. It was extended family on my mom's side a little more. We would do gatherings and stuff, but I was always the only child around. So not only am I an introvert, like both of my parents, and a big reader like my mother, but I was always the only kid. So I was always around adults my whole life. So that's why, I mean, I'm an old person internally, but yeah. Do you mind having your private life scrutinized? I have watched you with your enjoyment. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Huge hugs to you too, sweetheart. I don't mind having it scrutinized. I mean, it's my private life, but it's not anything salacious or anything. Of course, there's a phone call. Let's see who it is. It's a crap call. We're going to just ignore it and keep rolling. Okay. Next up, let's with Betsy. What prompted your love of all things British? That would be a twofold combo. One is one of our neighbors is British. When I was growing up, she's British. So I heard her accent my whole life. I met her mother. She always lived, I think she's from Oxfordshire, so she always lived around there. They went home to visit. Her mom came here. So I got a lot of British culture from her and from her kids. They were the only kids sort of my age in the neighborhood. So part of it was from them. They would get me a little like book, or I have still a little lavender sachet like stuffed that she got me from England when I was small. And so some of it is from them, from the neighbors, and the rest of it is from my grandmother completely. Like she kept up with 2 British pen pals for decades and decades and decades. She visited them a couple of times. They came here and stayed here. I remember Alpha and Lily very much. They live in Yorkshire, or lived in Yorkshire. I'm sure they're gone now. But so it was sort of, I always was around people speaking with an English accent. And also on PBS, we always watched PBS when I was a little kid, and there was tons of British stuff. So I was raised on a steady diet of Are You Being Served? Last of the Summer Wine, lots of different British cooking shows. Just tons of stuff, 90s sitcoms, 80s sitcoms. Yeah, so it just is, it's just what we watch and listen to. We all have the same sense of humor, so yeah, it's not just steeped, much like tea, from a very young age. Who's your favorite British actor? I'm going to say Kate Winslet. I really like her a lot, but I also, I'm going to say Kate Winslet. What was the first book you remember being read to you or reading yourself? Being read to, there's no way I'd remember that. My parents read to me when I was still in my mom's tummy. The first one I read myself was The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Oh my gosh, who's that? Eric Carle. As I remember that magic of figuring out the words, and like I could understand it, and it was just so amazing. That was in kindergarten. Your favorite book as a child? I really like The Sweet Smell of Christmas, which is a scratch and sniff book. That was really great. The only person I've ever known who knows that book is Greg from Supposedly Fun. He's talked about it a few times too. So now there's a second person who knows about that book. That was probably my favorite. Do you annotate or otherwise write in your books? No, I only did that in college. And then I thought, why don't I do this all the time? I love doing this. And now I can't bring myself to do it. If I underline, it's in pencil. And I usually go back to erase because I'm nuts. Do you read with the dust jacket on or off? Always reading with it off because it slides around too much, and I flip the pages too much with a hardcover especially, so yeah. So it does check it off for sure. Okay, oh Mamma Mia. Thank you. Okay, if you were to go to a large library book sale and the books were sorted by categories or genres, which area would you go check out first? What would you look through second? What would be the third? So I would go to the vintage section first. Then I would do mystery if they have a mystery section, and then just general fiction. Curious if you ever experienced reading slumps. Oh yes, all the time. And how to get back into reading again. Just kind of there myself. Oh, thank you so much, sweetheart. Okay, so reading slumps, yeah, they're constantly cycling, like constantly cycling. Sometimes I can trick myself by reading one of my favorite authors, picking up a book I haven't read before. Like Peter Mayle is a go-to author for me. I don't read him very often because he's now no longer with us. And I only have 4 books of his left to read. No, I have 5 because I have a travel book too. So I will go to something like that, or like Bill Bryson. Sometimes an audiobook helps, or just trying something totally different. Going to the library and picking up a graphic novel I've never heard of before and reading that, or picking up manga, reading that. Sometimes I just let myself sit with it and I don't read for a couple of weeks. This year I hardly read at all. The start of the pandemic, like lots of people, the election really affected my mental state, like most people's, I think, too, the last few weeks, months. It's not been a great year for reading in general for me, but I try to trick myself into it. And if it doesn't work, if I've tried 3 or 4 things, I just kind of sit with it and I half-heartedly pick up books and try things and see if something sticks. I try a couple times a day. There's nothing I found that really nothing I found that really works, but I just try a bunch of stuff out and try to roll with it and not sweat it, but I always sweat it. I don't know who I'm kidding. Oh, Monica. Hi, Monica. Okay. If you could be a character in a book, which character and book would it be and why? Ooh, I think I would, I'm going to say Ellen Olenska from The Age of Innocence, because while she was very much a product of her time and women had no rights, this is like early 1900s New York. She was married to a count, I forget if he was German or an European count, and had an unhappy marriage, so she left him and came back to New York to stay with her aunt, and then has a sort of affair with her cousin's fiance. That makes me sound sluttier. That's not what I mean. I mean, I would like to be her. Let me back this up. I would like to be her because she was not afraid to be herself, and even though she was ridiculed and looked down on and talked about behind her back constantly, she was still herself. She still stuck to her guns. She did not go back to her husband. She stayed with her family. I mean, she just ignored everybody and lived her life. And I would like to think that I could do the same thing. I don't think I would be able to, but I would like to be her if I could. What made you become a reader? Did you read a lot as a child? Were there times in your life you didn't read? My family made me be a reader. My mom is still a voracious reader. Read a lot as a child, all the time. That and played by myself with my imagination, drawing a lot. Times in your life you didn't read? Not really. I mean, there are always spurts of slumps and where I didn't read as much, but it's unusual if I go a week without at least reading 1 book. So yeah. Favorite book, least favorite of all time or currently? Since I'm talking about it, I'll say, okay, favorite book, Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. I love that book so much. I first read it in college and then read it again a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, before BookTube. I was really nervous because I was, I don't want it to not hold up anymore, but I still loved it. It's just as much. So that's my favorite. Least favorite, it used to be Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. That is not the case anymore. Least favorite book that I have actually finished and read would be Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Sorry, I know, unpopular opinion. I hated that book. I thought it was just an a-hole parade, and I was sick of being twisted around all the time. I threw it across the room when I was done. I was so glad we done with it. I didn't like it. Story behind the name of your channel. Okay, So I've thought about starting a channel for literally years, but I wanted to have a name and not just be my name. My go-to is to just be like some version of Laura with like some numbers or something. Or I would use my pets' names somehow, which would be sort of a weird generic, whatever. I don't, weird generic, that's not a thing. Forgive me. So I was thought for a long time, and then I was trying to find something that was a little unique, but you could still tell what I was going to be talking about. So I wanted a book to be in there somehow. And okay, so bubbler is, okay, I'm from the Milwaukee area, and people in Milwaukee call water fountains, drinking fountains, bubblers. I didn't know that everyone didn't call it a bubbler until probably high school. I mean, watching British stuff didn't count because everything was a little different, but I didn't realize that was such a unique thing until I was probably in middle or high school. So I just thought, I looked, there was no book bubbler anywhere I saw on YouTube, and I thought, okay, this sounds nice. And I asked a couple of friends, and they all thought it was an okay name, and people think that I am bubbly sometimes. So I thought, okay, I'll stick with book bubbler, and it kind of works. Do you have any pets? No. I lost both my babies. I mean, my pets were my children, like just straight up, absolutely my children. I had two cats, Chico and Sweet Pea. They were litter mates, and I got them when I was working my corporate job. Oh my gosh, 2003 or so. My grandmother passed away a year before, and my parents and I and family friends spent the year cleaning out this house. My grandmother was a smoker for her whole life, so everything had to be stripped and everything. So we spent a year cleaning out the house, and then I moved in. I was, I think, 23 or 24. I moved into the house by myself, and I really wanted a pet. So I just kept, this is so cheesy, I kept praying, like, okay, whoever needs a home, I don't care if it's a lizard, a cat, a dog, bunny rabbits, I don't care who or what it is, I would just like a pet. And about a week later, one of my coworkers' mothers told her to send an email out to everyone in the company and say she found two kittens that were abandoned at the edge of her property. She lived in the country on the edge of a woods. And does anyone want any pets? And I was like, oh, maybe. So I just emailed her back quickly and said, I was just thinking about this, maybe yes. And she said, my mom will be here in half an hour. So she brought them in a little carrier. They were like, you know, little teeny fuzzballs, a boy and a girl. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, I would take them. So she very kindly weaned them for me. And then, yeah, that was it. So they were totally my kids. Sweet Pea, I put her down when she was 13. She had a genetic condition. How would you know this ahead of time? They were just strays, but where her vertebrae were growing into her spinal column. So she was in so much pain she couldn't move anymore. So the first time she couldn't move, I'm like, all right, babes, that's it, we're going. And then Chico, he passed away just over a year ago. My little babes, who's such a baby. He had kidney disease his whole life. And the last probably 9 months or so, he got first once weekly, and then it was twice daily IV fluids that I would give him. Or one of my clients was a vet tech. She's very kindly came over and helped me do this. One of my friends was a nurse. She came over and helped me do it too. So he had a really good life. And then the day that he couldn't get up and he just wet himself, I thought, all right, babes, that's it. So absolutely broke my heart. I gotta stop talking about it or start crying. So no pets now. I want to have pets again, but I wanted to give myself at least a year to work through some of this stuff because the last 7 years have been so atrocious for me. So I would like to get more pets very soon, but yeah, I don't know if I'm quite ready. More questions, don't want to be nosy, that's fine. This is a very long video. I apologize in advance. I hope you're having a nice time in Austria, Monica. Thanks. Okay, Deborah. Hey, Deborah. Do you have a favorite genre? Probably mystery. And then she asks about massage. I'll answer your massage question in the next video. Going to do the BookTube prize next year. I've been waffling back and forth on this, and I think I will, especially because now he's not asking you to sign up for certain parts right away. I think I will just do nonfiction, though, instead of doing nonfiction and fiction. I don't you probably know this already, I don't read very much in the way of new releases, especially fiction. So when I joined this current year for the 2020 prize, I was trying to make myself read more current stuff, and I struggled so much with current fiction. It's just not my jam in general, but I'm getting better with nonfiction that's current. So yeah, I think I'll just do nonfiction. What did I think of it this last year? I really enjoyed it. It exposed me to books I never would have read, or would have read probably, but in like 10 years. I thought it was organized great. No complaints. Thought it was wonderful. Great, great, great. The problem is me. I'm a procrastinator and I don't like being told what to do. So I drag my feet all the time. Thanks to all my friends who listen to me like, oh, I have to read this in 2 days. How is your library organized? Mostly, okay, so there's read and unread. My unreads, which is 2/3 of my library, those are alphabetical in the section that they're in. So the section of wall I'm looking at now, the stuff on the wall my grandfather put up, those are alphabetical A through T. And then I have an alphabetical section for all of my British celebrity biographies, memoirs. And the guest room where I normally film, those shelves along the wall on my left side that you see, those are all A to Z TBRs. I do have 2 other shelves of TBRs that you don't see in that same room. Those are, one is like all Jane Austen and Brontes, and those are by author, and then books are grouped together. For nonfiction stuff, they're kind of grouped loosely by subject, though I do have a bookshelf that my dad made for me that's right next to me over here. It weighs an absolute ton. That is all books for work for me. All massage stuff, stuff about energy, stuff about essential oils and different theories and, you know, pressure point and handbooks and pathology books and medical dictionaries and stuff. So it's sort of nonfiction-y, sort of by subject, but mostly nonfiction. A lot of nonfiction, like narrative nonfiction, is with my fiction and everything else, and that's alphabetical by location. And I do have poetry separate too, and that's just shoved. Favorite author? Ooh, Edith Wharton. I'll just say that I want to kick with her. All-time favorite fiction and nonfiction books. Okay, so fiction, Age of Innocence. Another one I really love is The Portrait of a Lady by Henry James. I love that book. Nonfiction books. Ooh, that's tough. I am going to say, oh, what's that book? I can picture it in my head. It's a Bill Bryson book. It's the one about his travels in Europe. Neither Here Nor There. Is that it? It's got a maroon cover on the edges, and there's a bunch of illustrations. That one, of his travels around Europe. Partially because I really like Bill Bryson. I think he's really funny. It's an older book, and he was at a lot of the places I was at, or vice versa. So it was wonderful when I was reading it to read about the places either I was currently, because I was reading it when I was in Europe, or to look back and laugh and be like, oh my gosh, yes, that's totally how that little town was. Was it hard starting a channel? Hard to kick myself in the pants to do it, because I've been thinking about it for years. Technological stuff is not my forte. I did not end up doing a Friday Reads last week because I film on my phone, and it was so full of memory that I couldn't open most of my apps, and I couldn't film anything. It took 3 days and an overnight factory reset to get my phone to work again. So the technical part is not great. I still don't know how to edit. I'm lucky I can insert an image to save my life, but that was the thing that was holding me up. And getting over what people would think of me. I mean, I still care more than I should, let's be honest. But because I am a heavy person and I have some health issues, I thought I was going to get trolled immediately and relentlessly, and I would stop this within a couple of months. So that hasn't happened yet, knock on wood. So it wasn't that bad. I had to just suck myself up and do it. Any plans for your channel in next year? Oh, I really hope I learn how to edit the next year. That's what I really hope for. I'd like to eventually get an actual camera and not just my phone, but that seems unlikely at this point. Plans for my channel? No, I want to keep doing fun stuff, and yeah. Hope we can become friends. We are friends, girl. What are you talking about? Ellie Wiltshire, what ASMR do you listen to? So relaxing vlogs. Oh, thanks. That's so nice. ASMR. I really like the channel Ambiance of Yesteryear. They have a lot of really good stuff. Calmed by Nature has some nice things too. Geez. I'll have to go through the Ambiance of Yesteryear channel. That's my favorite one, and see what I can find for favorites. I'll link them below if I can pull a couple out that I really like, but that's sort of where I start looking first and see if they have something new. There are a lot that I watch, but I'm also kind of picky. I don't want to see a loop of like a fireplace, or like if I can hear where they loop an audio, I can't handle it. It drives me crazy. So yeah, Ambiance of Yesteryear. Okay. Oh, hey, Michelle. Bashful and I each have a question. Oh, hey, Bashy. Bashfuls. I miss Auntie. He's my little bun. He's the cutest bun ever. Okay, Michelle's wondering what my favorite genre is. Mystery. Not sexy books, like I always joke with you. Okay, and Bashful is wondering if I prefer carrots or bananas. I like them both, Bashful. I eat more carrots than bananas, shockingly so. I'm a carrot girl, apparently. Monique, happy. Thank you, honey. Shannon, thanks. Know more about your previous music career. I think it was a career. Okay, sort of a career. I always liked singing, and I wanted to try and like get lessons when I was very small, but we didn't really have money for it, number one. And number two, when I was singing in Sunday school, I had a natural vibrato and I got teased relentlessly for it. So I changed how I sang, and I stopped it because I didn't want to get teased anymore. And then I just got really too self-conscious at the age of like 7 or 8 and stopped doing a lot of that. This is not starting out great. You know, no wine and cheese here. Wine sounds nice though. So I always sang with the church. I stopped going to church regularly in 6th grade, 7th grade, around there. Mostly because I got too busy. So in 5th grade, I started playing the viola. I wanted to learn an instrument. I didn't want something super, super loud, and I didn't want a cello or a bass, and everyone wanted to play the violin, so I picked the viola, and I'm so glad I did. I love the viola. So I played from 5th grade through college graduation, and then afterwards sporadically for friends' weddings and things, doing solos and stuff. So the short version is I won, this is not going to be a short version, who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? I won a raffle and won a free year of private lessons. So David was my teacher through high school, but he told me that I was beyond him when I was in 10th grade, and I was like, no, I can't. No, David, I have to come see you. He was like, no, kid, I can't help you anymore. But I stuck with him. I made him take me. And then I had private lessons for quite a while. I also had private lessons in college. I got a scholarship, a partial scholarship, a small scholarship to go to college where I went. So I was in the chamber orchestra in high school, middle school and high school. I was in the regular orchestra in middle and high school. I was also a member of the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra. We played at it was the PAC at the time, but now it's Marcus Big Theater downtown, where the ballet performs, where the Milwaukee Symphony performs. So we played just like a regular symphony. We were all in high school, though. That's the youth part of Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra. So I played huge stuff all throughout high school. I played in operas. I played with the Waukesha Symphony Orchestra when I was a junior or senior in high school, and filled in for them for performances of the Magic Flute and Carmina Burana. So that was sort of one of my jobs is that. So that was one night a week was Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. Another night of the week was private lessons. I had rehearsals for concerts and things throughout. In college, I was in the chamber group, I did solos, and I was in our orchestra. It was a very small program, and I did not like my private teacher at all. So I got really frustrated, and I lost my passion for it then. I also sang in high school in the choir and in chamber groups as well too, and did solos at state and everything. And I sang in college as well, in chamber groups and in our choral groups too. And in the choral group is how I travel around a lot and saw a lot of the US. And my last semester of college was spent touring Europe with the choir. So we spent just over 2 months in, I believe, 6 countries. 1 full month was in Italy. It was glorious. But yeah, learned a lot, saw a lot. And then afterwards, I just kind of fell away from it as an adult, as you do. I would practice occasionally with my cats. Of course, I would practice before friends' weddings and things, doing solos and stuff. I never sang a solo. I was too self-conscious. But I did, play stuff. And my cats didn't like the sound of my viola. And to be fair, the viola I have has a harsher tone to it. I don't like it. So I'm starting to practice again now that they're gone a little bit. It's going okay. I have all my music because I am a nostalgic person. So that's pretty much it. It's something, by the time I graduated, I had enough credits in music just from all the stuff I wanted to take, chambers and everything for singing and performing, that I had more than enough for a major in music, but didn't actually get the major music. And I'm always surprised at how old I am and how long it's been since I've done this stuff professionally, because in my brain, it's like right there. Sorry, probably more than you want to know. Danny, oh man. Where does channel name come from? Okay, I already answered that. What author would you invite to dinner and what would you eat? Oh man. Author would invite to dinner. I think I would invite Bill Bryson. I think that'd be kind of fun. He's a Midwestern guy. And what would we eat? Oh, if I had to cook, it would probably be something easy like lasagna and garlic bread and a salad or something. What's your favorite bread, girl? I like all bread. Let's be real. Oh man. Like day-to-day bread, it's brown berry, whole wheat. I'm such a dork. But for like desserty breads, I really like lemon poppy seed. What's your favorite color? Green. How many books is too much to own? Oh my God. Well, I would say the amount I have now is too many, but that's also not a real answer, because the real answer is there is not too many. It's just your space and what you're comfortable with. So right now I'm at the verge of too many. When we go to London, what's the first thing you want to do? Honestly, take a nap. That's so lame. I am a terrible, terrible traveler. I throw up on every single flight I take. I get dizzy if I turn around too quickly. I have horrible motion sickness. I get seasick really easily. I don't let it stop me doing anything. I just have to like take it slow when I get somewhere. So first thing I want to do, take a nap, like check into the hotel / Airbnb whenever we end up going, whenever this is, check in and like lay down and sleep and give myself a little time to readjust from the stress of being in motion. The first thing I want to do, aside from catching up with myself, get a cup of tea somewhere and just walk around and be amazed and stunned that I am finally in England. Oh man. Okay, Ange with an E. Hi, honey. Most favorite bookish place you have visited? Oh my gosh, that's a good question. Paris. I was going to say Vienna, but that's more music people. That was my favorite music-y place. Paris for sure. There's so much history there, and yeah, nothing specific necessarily, just being around and looking for plaques. And I was and am the kind of person who, when I research, sometimes when I go travel, it's all like historical figures. Who lived where? What's over here? Is there a museum about them? Can I go to the museum? How much is it? Like, I'm super cool. So yeah, it was Paris for sure. I've been there twice, and 2 weeks is not long enough total, let me tell you, to see what you want to see. Sarah, hey Sarah, what would be a perfect day? Perfect day be like for you? Okay, wake up on my own. So I have to take medication for my thyroid, so I have to take that and wait an hour before I can eat or drink anything. So I come up, take my medication, and then in that hour I have before I can have coffee or anything, I would like to just, you know, sit outside if it's not too cold or hot and watch some things, maybe journal a little bit, read a little bit, and then once I can eat, you know, eat, have coffee, take a shower, maybe go into work of some kind or go into an office for a few hours, leave, you know, grab lunch out on the way home and come home and eat, and then do something creative in the afternoon, like do collaging, more journaling, do some planning stuff, sort through, reorganize something in my house, have a nice dinner. Hopefully I don't have to cook it myself. My fictional fake husband can do that for me. And then just like chill, watch TV or movie and listen to music, maybe have a little conversation, glass of wine maybe, and then go to bed. Pretty boring, I guess. Yeah, sorry, nerdy. Cousin, hey cousin. Thank you very much. Okay, here's my massage question I'll answer. Did you always want to be a massage therapist, or is it something that you fell into? I sort of fell into it. I was working my corporate job out of college, and my neighbor next door to me, she is, I don't know, she's older than me. Most of my friends are in their 50s and 60s, now 70s. So she's a little older than me, and she was thinking of going to massage school. And there was an open house, and she said, why don't you come with me? We were on one of our nightly walks that we used to do. It's like, man, I don't know. She's like, no, just come with me. She said, we'll go, like, you know, we can get coffee on the way. And if nothing else, I want you to meet Wanda, who owns the school. It's an independent massage school. She had known Wanda for decades at that point, and that's why she was thinking of going to school. She wanted to switch careers herself, and she's like, that way if we can go together, we can take turns driving, we can carpool, we can help each other study. I'm like, okay, fine. So a few weeks later, I went with my parents because I can't drive with her. I found out afterwards I can't drive with her. Super car sick. So met her down there, and as we were getting closer to the building, it was on the north side of Milwaukee, which I'm not that familiar with. I know the major streets, but that's it. It's in a neighborhood, in a former house. And I was like, oh God, this feels like something. I don't know what, but it felt like sort of familiar. I was getting pulled there. And I walked in, and I knew I had to be there. I knew I had to do this. And I was sort of stunned most of the tour because I was just walking around like, I know where everything is in this place. I have been here before somehow. I knew I had to learn how to do this. I had never had a massage. I had never been to a spa or anything like that before. I think I had like 2 facials before, which is not the same thing, obviously, but you know. And I just knew that I had to be there. It was so strange. And my parents were like, are you okay? What's wrong with you? You're being really weird. I'm like, I think I've been here before. I'm supposed to do this. They were like, okay, I get it. I've always been kind of like that, you know. So I ended up going to school. My neighbor did not. And it was just over a year program. So I worked my corporate job that I despised with every fiber of my being, between 40 and 60 hours a week. And then school was 3 nights a week. I worked about 45 minutes from massage school, so I would hop on the freeway, like race down there as fast as I could. I didn't really eat much all year. I existed on soy lattes and about 2 hours of sleep literally a night for that whole 13 months. I also gained a lot of weight that year. Stress. So I sort of fell into it, but I feel like I was pulled into it. And oh my God, my hands are so hot. So yeah, I never saw this coming, ever, in a billion years. I thought I was going to be a writer and editor my whole life. That was what I went to school for, so yeah. How long have you been reading romance, and who are some of your all-time and more recent favorite authors? So, someone else asked this recently on someone else's channel. Was it Angie's channel? Literary Labors, maybe? I've been reading Nora Roberts for 15 to 20 years. I got introduced to her at my corporate job. I don't think of her as romance, though. She sort of stands by herself in a weird way, even though much of what she writes is romance. So 17 years I've been reading romance off and on, but really like more traditional romance, historical romance, probably 4 or 5 years. I wanted to push my boundaries some more and get into it more. So when I was more active on LibraryThing, I was asking people for recommendations, and I didn't know, but one of the people I was friends with and talking to was an author. So I have one of her books. I haven't read it. I'm still nervous about it. But I just sort of picked up stuff. Probably my favorite that I've read the most of and enjoyed, the highest percentage I have enjoyed, is Eloisa James. I do like Sarah MacLean. I've only read a couple of hers, but I liked them both. Let's see what else. I mean, I'm reading The Bridgertons right now, Julia Quinn. I just finished the first one a couple days ago. I loved the first part, and the second part I did not love. So unsure about Julia Quinn, but yeah. I mean, Nora Roberts is just so easy to read. Even though they're kind of formulaic, there's comfort in that formula, and I like standalones, I like trilogies, so probably she's my favorite. But more recently, like when I was really starting to purposely look for and read romance, it's Eloisa James. And I also use Sarah MacLean's website. I just was on it last week too. She keeps a running list of all kinds of her favorite massage books. Oh my gosh, romance books. Gay, straight, queer, asexual, alien, vampire, like whatever, it doesn't matter. Historical, contemporary, outer space. So I go through that every once in a while and update things and, you know, check things out that way too. So she's been a good resource. Aside from you, cousin, your channel, and Sarah at Bookish Knitter, you two have been like my two go-tos on YouTube. So thank you. Gabriella. Hey. Oh, that's so nice. Thanks. Oh, from Sicily. Hi, Gabriella. Thanks. That's so sweet. Okay. Scott and Nella, Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. Why can't I talk today? This is the last question. Okay. Happy anniversary. Thank you, dears. Who is your favorite but most flawed literary character? Oh, man. Cue the crickets. I mean, I think probably most obviously flawed that I have heard a lot of people say that they don't read this series because they don't like this character. It would be Agatha Raisin by MC Beaton. Yeah. I like her. I like that she's her own person. I like that she doesn't make sense. I like that she's cantankerous and doesn't put up with BS. I like that she's love obsessed. I like that she's older. You know, I'm probably that. If not, ooh, Isabella from Portrait of a Lady is pretty flawed too and makes some questionable choices, but excuse me. I think we're supposed to, I mean, we're with her and she does grow. Anyways, I'll stick with Agatha Raisin. If you had to recommend one book to make them a better person, what book would you pick? Oh my God. To make Agatha Raisin a better person? Oh my, she would think most things probably I would recommend would be trite or BS or not worth her time. But she does read a lot of crime fiction and that she talks about. So for crime fiction books for Agatha Raisin, I would recommend The Sitterford Mystery. It's a standalone. There's no like big detective. I really liked that one. I haven't read that in probably 8 years, but I really, really liked that. So I would recommend Agatha to read that if she hasn't already, just for enjoyment. And as for like a self-helpy kind of a book, which I'm assuming maybe you think make her a better person, oh man. I will pick the one that I read most recently, the self-helpy book that I really enjoyed, that was Untamed by Glennon Doyle. It's not a perfect book, but I think there's a lot in there to like chew on and think about. something might get in that way. Otherwise, maybe You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I haven't read it, but the sweariness and the bluntness of it, I think, might appeal to her. So, yeah. Okay, that's all my questions. Wow, 45 minutes. That's longer than I expected. Thank you. That's so nice that you guys care to ask me questions. Thank you all so much for being here, for listening to me yammer on about stuff, for supporting me and watching my craziness. Watch me fold laundry in my pajamas. Laura, what were you thinking? Looking at my crazy house with all my weird books, being so kind and lovely and friendly. I adore every single one of you out there. Thank you if you have been here since day one. Thank you if you just joined me today. I really hope that you find something here that you can stick around with. I hope you can always feel free to ask me anything, give me suggestions, whatever. I don't care. You know, you all mean so much to me, and this has been so rewarding and so fulfilling. I feel like I really hit the jackpot and I really lucked out. So sincerely, from the bottom of my heart and the heart of my bottom, thank you so much. I can't wait to get to know you all better and see what you all are up to and reading and how many books you cause me to buy, because it's all your fault. I'm innocent in all this stuff, right? Just kidding. So really, thank you so much. I love you all. I hope you're reading something wonderful. And if you stuck around to the end here, thank you. Today is my mom's birthday. She's 77. She's not happy about it, but it's her birthday. So I think I'm going to have her pick a couple of songs for the Song of the Week later this week and see what she thinks. I hope it's not all Ricky Nelson, but it's possible. So, okay, enough waffling from me. Thank you so much. And I hope you're all doing well and taking good care, reading something fabulous. And I will see you guys very soon. Bye.